Hi, this is Eric from Longbox Review at longboxreview.com. Welcome to the show and welcome to a pull list review. Yes, as I did say that correctly. It is a pull list review for comics that I read in October of 2021. Not a comics chat because I'm just talking about the comics and no extras this time. I just didn't feel like it. So here we go with the comics I read in October of 2021. Batman Superman number 16, The Marvels number 3, The Flash number 768, House of M issues 1 through 8, Rat Queens volume 3 Demons, A Man Among Ye volume 1, Wonder Woman Black and Gold number 5, Manifest Destiny volume 4 Sasquatch, Infinite Frontier number 1, Wayne Family Adventures on Webtoons, Episode 1 or Issue 1 or whatever they're calling them. Starman's Issues 1 and 2, Deadly Class Volume 5. And I did not write down what the title of that one was. Oh, well. And finally, Justice League number 60. So I will spotlight 4 of these books and then talk just briefly on a few of them at the end of the show. To start off with, I'll talk about Batman Superman number 16. And this is the official DC Comics description of the issue. In the aftermath of Dark Knight's death metal, catch a glimpse of brave new worlds within the DC universe. But what are these strange planets? As we delve into the parallel lives of the Man of Steel and the Dark Knight, we'll meet new villains, new heroes, alternate realities, and a trans-dimensional collision that you will need to see to believe. It's the dastardly debut of a cadre of new villains, including the Spider Lady and her poisonous webs, Dr. Adam, who sports a kryptonite pendant, and the maniacal machinations of the unknown wizard. You've never seen Batman or Superman like this before, so buckle up and get ready for the start of a new era. This is by Ivan Hayes as penciler, Jean Luen Yang as writer, Danny Mickey inker, Sabine Rich colorist, Saida Temofonte, letterer, and Mures and Kaminsky editors, with a cover by Race, Mickey, and Rich. And on the cover, it declares 2 worlds, 2 heroes, double the danger. So what we get is a Golden Age-looking Superman and Batman, but with some modern-looking technology. In the issue, including camera drones and desktop computers, but they're wearing 1940s, 1950s style clothing and using cars of that era. So it's this weird mix of time and place, which I find very fascinating. Basically this is just an Elseworlds story about a Superman and a Batman, but I really enjoyed it overall. We get at the very beginning of this story, we get this introduction. It says, "Welcome, dear reader, to the world's finest, get it? Double feature, 2 separate sensational tales, twice the action, twice the thrills. You can either follow one storyline to the end and then come back for the other, or follow both storylines simultaneously. The choice is yours." And of course, I just read them both at the same time. So it features Superman and the top. So basically the comic is divided in half horizontally, and the top part is Superman's story, which is the world of tomorrow. And then the Batman and Robin story, at the bottom is called the world of night, spelled with a K. Each of these horizontal storylines are bordered by these film strips. So it's a film strip motif. And, the way the story starts out, it's almost like the film is coming out of the camera. They actually show a camera. That bit that I just read was like the start of a movie. And like I said, the film kind of comes out and we watch the film or the story unfold in this way, which I thought was very clever way to get us into the story and show us these different worlds. The stories are distinct from one another, but they both follow the same basic pattern of the heroes battling the villain. Superman at first battles the unknown wizard, who turns out to be Lex Luthor. He's not very unknown for very long. And then Batman, who is after the Joker, Penguin, and the new Spider Lady, who are escaping from Arkham Asylum. During that the Spider Lady tells Batman that Arkham's warden is part of a secret society. So Batman investigates and finds a peculiar rocket ship with an S shield on it, and Robin notices there's a skeleton of a baby inside. So it's Superman's rocket ship. And so like I said, these are distinct stories. They're separate. There's a Bruce Wayne in the Superman story, but he is not the Bruce Wayne that we're used to reading. He's more of a feet snob. And interestingly, there was an encounter in Crime Alley, but it was his dad who died in that, and his mom is still there. And Luthor in the story claims that Mrs. Wayne is the one who is stealing his ideas, like the power source that powers Metropolis. And it's that power source. There's something happens to it in the fight between Superman and Lex Luthor. Lois and Jimmy are investigating, and we get this collision of the two worlds, in that there's a point where Lois Lane is investigating the Waynes, and she goes down into what we would call the Batcave, and something in a struggle with a venomized Alfred, and then something that's going on in the Batman world. I forget now what it was. Anyway, the film strips melt at one point, and that allows Lois Lane to fall from the Superman world down into the Batman world, which then Batman sees her and says, or calls her basically the Spider Lady. So there you go. So the worlds are colliding. It's a great story. I am loving this thing. And then on the final page, it shows on Earth 0, which I didn't realize that's what we were calling the main Earth, the main DCU Earth now. Interestingly, I think they spell out 0, but then in another book I'm going to talk about, it's referred to by the number. Anyway, Batman and Superman investigate a Wayne Tech satellite that's wrapped in what looks like film strip, but Superman calls it's not really film. It feels ethereal, he says. And then these aliens with these camera lenses for an eye, these cyclopean aliens arrive, telling them that for, quote, trespassing upon the archive of worlds, you shall be annihilated. And then that's the end. So, that's what a clever way to tell a story, both visually and narratively. These are new versions of our familiar heroes set on worlds that are somewhat familiar, but strange and different enough to make them really interesting. Like I said, the technology doesn't quite jibe with the look, which evokes, like I said, a 1940s/1950s feel, but makes them very interesting. What do these strange new worlds have to do with our usual heroes and these aliens at the end of the issue? I don't know, but I love it, and I'm glad I ordered the trade. Even though I read this digitally on the DC Universe app, I wanted to get a sense for it. And or did I order the trade, or am I going to order the trade? I forget. Oh, I did. I ordered the trade. Pretty sure I did. But I'd love it. I can't wait to read more of this. And I may just go ahead and read number 17. Even though I ordered the trade. That's such as it is. Okay. Next up is another series of comic books that I read on the Marvel Unlimited app, House of M, numbers 1 through 8. So in case you don't know about House of M, the Avengers and the X-Men are faced with a common foe that becomes their greatest threat, Wanda Maximoff. The Scarlet Witch is out of control, and the fate of the entire world is in her hands. Will Magneto help his daughter or use her powers to his own benefit? This is by Olivier Coipel, penciler, Brian Michael Bendis, writer, Tim Townsend, John Dell, and Scott Hanna, inkers, Frank Darmada, colorist, Chris Eliopoulos, letterer, and Moore, Laser, and Brevoort, editors. Okay, so this was one of the major Marvel events I had skipped. Which is kind of weird because I had read Avengers Disassembled in trade. And so I don't know how long between when that was collected and sold and where House of M fits in with that. Later, I would get Civil War and Secret Invasion in trades. So I don't know why I waited so long to read this event series, considering, the No More Mutants was a refrain that I would read many times over in various books over the years. So, thanks to my Marvel Unlimited subscription, I guess I should just really thank myself since I'm paying for it, but I was finally able to rectify that. And so I started reading it. It was bedtime, or pre-bedtime reading for me on my tablet, and I could not put it down. Well, figuratively, because I would read one issue and then go to sleep, and then the next night I'd read. But I would do that. I did that for like a week, and I think actually there was one of the issues where I'm like, I can't wait, and so I read 2 in one night. So basically, after the events of Avengers Disassembled, Wanda's not in a good state, and Professor X is trying to help her. Things are not going well, and so the Avengers and the X-Men get together to decide, what are we going to do about Wanda Maximoff? And which brings up some of the I thought were some good moral quandaries in this series. One, Wolverine and Emma Frost were the ones advocating killing one of their own, with Captain America and others saying, no way, we're not doing that. There's always a way, Cap says. Kitty Pryde and Jessica Drew, later in the series, wonders if they shouldn't just leave this. Oh, I forgot to mention. So just in case you don't know. So at one point, Scarlet Witch creates a new reality, a new Marvel reality in which the mutants are the dominant species on the planet, and everybody's happy. Everybody gets their happy life, but not everybody. Like, for example, Logan, Wolverine remembers his past life, maybe because of his mutant ability. I don't know, or some event causes him to remember. I can't recall. There is another mutant in the story, a young girl who is able basically to, if she touches you or does a mind whammy on you, I forget now, but it causes you to remember your previous existence, the previous reality, as well as the reality that you're in. So that causes some conflict there too. That I thought was kind of cool. Anyway, a group of Avengers and X-Men are, they get together now that they know the quote unquote, the truth. And so, like I said, Kitty Pryde and Jessica Drew wonder in this meeting, if they shouldn't just leave this altered reality as is, because like I said, everybody's happy. And it's Wolverine who's like, nope, it ain't right. So we gotta fix this. Plus tries to shame Jessica for even voicing the thought, which I thought was that's bad. That is not a good look, Wolverine. Why not? Given how many times the timeline is altered or reality is rebuilt, who's to say which version of reality is the correct one? Although I guess given those who remember the previous reality, I don't know. That's what I mean. It's like this series brought up a lot of questions for me about the events in it that I found fascinating. Speaking of, though, what a cool way to tell such a story, given what Scarlet Witch's powers are. Her hex powers alters reality, usually in a much smaller scale, but here she's affected the entire world. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's also great fun to read our favorite characters in basically a what-if situation. For example, Peter Parker and Gwen are married and have a kid. Cap is an old man. Can't remember why that is, but he didn't take the super soldier serum, and he wasn't Captain America, I guess. Wolverine knows all about his past, everything that he's forgotten or has been suppressed. He knows everything. And then there's a big reveal about Hawkeye not being dead. But perhaps the most affecting scene was in issue 5 and I think 8 scenes, I should say. After the truth is revealed to Peter and he remembers Uncle Ben being murdered and Gwen dying, And his reaction after that was, I thought, so honest and emotional for the character. And then Wolverine goes to talk to him, and he tells Wolverine that he will kill Magneto and, quote, his stupid daughter with my bare hands. And I thought, whoa, Peter. I mean, it's such a visceral reaction to a sense of betrayal, a sense of intrusion on your life. You know, I totally accept Peter's reaction to this situation. Later, like I said, I think in issue 8, in issue 8, after reality is restored, Peter pounds the table in frustration, and he's crying. And then just a few pages later, or the next issue, maybe it was 7 and 8. Anyway, I just looked at this yesterday, and I don't remember. That's why I should reference the issues in my notes. Anyway, later now as Spider-Man, he asked Doctor Strange to take away his other reality memories. But Strange says he can't, and then Peter screams at him. I said, take it out. Wolverine's kind of the star of this story because we follow him from the beginning through the end and what's going on there, which is curious because the Scarlet Witch plays a minor role in a story where she is the catalyst. So that was an interesting choice. I don't know that was the right one, especially considering that near the end of it, she says, no more mutants, that famous line, which sets up a situation in the Marvel Universe that lasts for years. So yeah, it was very, very cool to see these characters, how they responded. Like I said, with Spider-Man, he's the one that I really responded to in the story. Like I said, for those reasons that I just described. And so you get this Marvel event involving the Avengers and the X-Men, fan favorite Wolverine. It changes the status quo of the Marvel Universe, and you get, the premier character of the Marvel Universe, Spider-Man, having such or being much of the emotional core of it, at least from my perspective. So, I don't know where this Marvel series, this event ranks for you Marvel fans out there, but for me, it's pretty high in the event ranking now that I've read it. And I'm glad I did. I really enjoyed this. All right. From mutants to pirates. I'm going to talk about A Man Among Ye, Volume 1. This is from Top Cow/Image. So high adventure on the seas in the waning days of piracy where men were men and the best pirates were women. Writer Stephanie Phillips and artist Craig Cermak bring to life the tale of Anne Bonny and Mary Read as they hoist the skull and crossbones, draw cutlasses, and seek a treasure that will make them legends in an era where sailing with women was thought to be bad luck. Anne and Mary might just be the only women capable of saving the pirates' way of life, and this collects issues 1 through 4. Like I said, this is by Craig Cermak as the artist, Stephanie Phillips writer, John Calise and Brittany Pazzillo are colorists, and Troy Pateri letterer with Elena Salcedo as the editor. I initially saw the Craig Cermak cover to issue 1, which is also the cover of the trade, and in previews, and it immediately had my attention. A woman pirate? Yes, please. Apparently I have a thing for women on boats because I also enjoyed Shanghai Red, which I talked about in my Girl Power episode 186 from November 20th, 2020. But whereas the protagonist in Shanghai Red was a sailor against her will, Anne Bonny chose this life. And she's not a very fine person. Early on in the story, she sets a ship on fire, a ship that her pirate ship, I forget the name of it at the moment, not hers, but her captain's pirate ship. They've plundered it, and the captain has told her to scuttle it, and so she's going to set it on fire. Well, there is an injured British soldier on board, and he's like, "Help me! I don't want to die here." And she basically points her musket at his face, and he says, "You won't." And she says, "I will." And then he spits on her face, and she gets up, And instead of shooting him, she takes the lamp and throws it on the deck and starts the fire with that guy too. So not a great person. So she's not your fiend with a heart of gold. Totally. Regardless, she's not well liked on Captain Calico Jack Rackham's pirate ship. With the crew not liking her presence, like I said at the beginning, the description says, women were thought to be bad luck, taboo. In fact, I found out later to be on ships, but she got together with Calico Jack, and now she's has a favored position on the ship, of course, but she's not well respected by many of the crew. Anyway, that gets her poisoned later. Fortunately, she had earlier helped out a stowaway who returned the favor by basically sticking her fingers down Anne's throat to cause her to throw up the poison that she drank. So, and that person is a young Mary Read. She was posing as a boy on the British ship, and stows away on Calico Jack's ship for a little while, and then Anne helps her out against one of the crew. So they get together, and then they encounter another couple of women who are trying to escape their circumstance, and then basically a crew of 4 is born on the ship. Along the way, they're pursued by a pirate hunter, a British loyalist, who is getting some help from an unexpected source. So I don't want to spoil that surprise, but that causes the setup of the conflict for the next volume, which I have already pre-ordered. I can't wait to read this because I really like this story. Anne Bonny is an interesting character. Like I said, not a great person, but she helps out Mary, and she's helping out these other women, and she, basically the theme of the story, and it's not just from Anne's perspective, but the pirates themselves, all of the pirates that we encounter, they just want to be free. They'd rather be dead, because there's a scene in which the pirate hunter hangs a few pirates, and some others or other captured pirates are discussing the situation, and they're like, basically, I'd rather be dead than not free. So, Anne chose this life, and so did Mary, apparently. And these other women are choosing the life they want for themselves, and instead of being told what to do. So it's all about personal freedom and what that means for those characters. So I'm curious how this progresses in the next volume. I hope it doesn't just turn into how it's set up at the very end of this, which is a revenge tale. But this is one of those situations, just like Shanghai Red, actually, where in the afterword, the writer of the comic, gave a bit of history about Anne Bonny and how that influenced the story here. So, Anne Bonny was a real pirate. Like I said, during a time when women on ships were considered taboo. Some of the legends surrounding Anne Bonny, including where she would flash her breasts at men so they know a woman was killing them, may not have been true, but it's they're legends for a reason. And then also there was something in there about when she was captured, she would feign pregnancy to avoid being hanged, so that she could plan for her escape. Just all the stuff about Anne and Mary and what it meant to be women in the early 18th century. I was just fascinated by it. So it really enhanced my reading experience and the pleasure of reading this story. So, like I said, I can't wait to read volume 2. Glad I took a chance on this. Although, the Craig Cermak art does not hurt anything. So there were 2 colorists, I will note. You can really tell the difference between the one issue one colorist did and the rest of the issues. One set of colors are, a little more vibrant, has a little more depth to them than the other one, but it's not something that, detracts totally from the story. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. Good pirate comic book fare. It's really funny. When I read Watchmen, the pirate storyline in that series was my least favorite when I first read it. Later, when I reread it, I understood what Moore and Gibbons were going for by telling that story within the larger context of the Watchmen series. And now I'm enjoying reading comic books about pirates. So pirate comics sell, at least for me. All right. And finally, for the spotlighted comics, I'm going to talk about Infinite Frontier #1. So, when our heroes saved the multiverse from Perpetua in Dark Knight's death metal, everything was put back where it belonged. And we do mean everything. All the damage from all the crises was undone, and heroes long thought gone returned from whatever exile they had been in. Most of them, at least. Alan Scott, the Green Lantern from the Justice Society of America, has noticed some of his allies are still missing in action, and he's determined to find them. There are others, though, who would rather remain hidden than explain themselves. Like Roy Harper, a.k.a. Arsenal, a man who should be dead but now is not. Plus, what does all this mean for the DCU's place in the multiverse? On opposite sides of a dimensional divide, both Barry Allen and President Superman ponder this question, not to mention the dark side of it all. Or a team of multiversal heroes called Justice Incarnate. This is by Hermonico as the artist, Joshua Williamson is the writer, Romulo Fajardo Jr., colorist, Tom Napolitano letterer, Lopez and Rich editors, with a Mitch Gerrard's cover. So this starts off with a ship that crashes and an elderly couple discover an unconscious Batman in it, which we are shown is the Flashpoint Batman. They decide to call Calvin, who is President Superman, their son. So we know we're on Earth 23. One of the parents says, that damn multiverse is nothing but trouble, which I thought was really funny. On Earth 0, and this is the issue which references Earth with a number instead of spelled out, we get Alan Scott, who's meeting up with his son Obsidian. And we're told that Alan has joined this group of heroes to monitor, quote, any potential changes to the multiverse. So that's the Justice Incarnate. In Paris, Director Bones meets with Cameron Chase to recruit her to the newly reinstated DEO, and he shows her something on his phone, I believe, where I think she actually says wow or exclaims something, but that convinces her to join. Later, the Thomas Wayne Batman awakens and is introduced to the Justice Incarnate, which includes Captain Carrot from Earth 26, Aqua Woman from Earth 11, Mary Marvel from Earth 5, and Machine Head from Earth 8. Machine Head's a new character to me, so I don't know what that's about. Batman asks for the Flash, and President Superman asks him which one. Batman then says, Barry Allen. And then there's a beat, and then President Superman says, which one? I thought it was funny. All right. Then we see our Flash, Barry Allen, running through various multiversal Earths, and then he stops on something that's identified as Earth Omega, a world which he says, which is without any frequency, without any vibration. He finds the members of the Quintessence dead, and then Psychopirate arrives, telling Barry that they'll be working together because a new crisis is coming. Elsewhere, Roy Harper is attacked by a group telling him that, quote, this world doesn't like you, and that they will extract him from it. Not sure if they mean they're going to take him somewhere or kill him. I think it's the latter, because they do say that leave no witnesses. So I don't know. But then another Roy Harper arrives to help, only this one is wearing a Black Lantern uniform. So that was interesting. And he's surrounded by these Black Lantern constructs of all his various personas over the years. So who is the Roy Harper that Black Lantern Roy Harper actually saved? So that'll be interesting. It's also interesting considering what happens in Flash number 768, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So I think Joshua Williamson might be my new favorite DC writer, given that he's giving me everything about the DC multiverse that I love. You know, different heroes from different Earths, connections to a crisis or the crisis. I'm not sure. A new multiversal mystery with the new Earth Omega, which has to involve Darkseid, right? I mean, it said so in the description. You know, artistically, the colors in this book are, I think, a high point, but I did really enjoy the way Germanico drew the Bones chase scene. I thought it was very beautiful. The other bits were, I don't know, doesn't look quite the same as that sequence. There is also another sequence where we see Barry drawn differently when he encounters the Psycho-Pirate, like we're seeing different versions of him. So I thought that was really cool, the way that Germanico drew that and the way that it was portrayed by the other artists as well. So definitely looking forward to reading this story from beginning to end. Okay, so now I'll finish off the episode here with just a few more comics, just a few thoughts here. Flash number 768, like I said, I wanted to see what Wally's return to glory maybe look like, post Heroes in Crisis. It was kind of odd to see Green Arrow arguing to keep him out of the JLA, but it made sense given Ollie's grief over Roy still being dead. So was Flash 768, did that come out before Infinite Frontier? Or, does Green Arrow not yet know about Roy in Infinite Frontier, or whichever Roy, I don't know. So there's these connections now that need to be made between these Infinite Frontier and some of these other books. So that's interesting. I like that aspect of it. The plot about Wally taking on the persona of other speedsters through time feels really familiar. Maybe I'm thinking of Batman's journey post Final Crisis, or is there some other story like that? This is not a new concept, of course. So if you enjoy, I guess, seeing Wally be portrayed as Impulse and some other characters, I guess there you go. I don't know. I'm more curious about how this storyline will end up for Wally. Will he prove himself worthy again to the other heroes, to himself, to the larger world, given what hand he was dealt in Heroes in Crisis? So I didn't really care for the art in some ways. Some of the facial expressions were, I don't know, just odd. But other than that, it was a fine book. It was a fine enough book. I'll read more, mostly for the Wally thing. I did pick up issue number 5 of Wonder Woman Black and Gold because of the beautiful Tula Lotte cover. I have not gotten... Oh, I said number 5. It's actually issue 4. I have not gotten the other issues of Wonder Woman Black and Gold. I was planning on reading these in the DCU app and then deciding if I wanted to get a trade. But I could not pass up the Tula Lotte cover. So, it's so good. But I did enjoy, especially the first 3 shorts in this. Prayer, with beautiful Nicholas Scott art and the sentiment of it. Amazing. The second short, and the gist of that one is Batman is cool and all, but Wonder Woman is amazing. And finally, Whatever Happened to Kathy Perkins, which is, I think, the best story in this issue, featuring a character from Wonder Woman's past. Diana tells a dying Kathy Perkins that, quote, time is a commerce. It can be spent or burnt, i.e., don't live your life in a prison just to put off the inevitable, because Kathy is dying from cancer. So I just like the sentiment of these stories. So go read that issue if you haven't. And then finally, just real quick, I read on Webtoons Wayne Family Adventures, the first episode, the first installment of this. So with Duke coming to live at Wayne Manor, so he's kind of our point of view character. It was, I will admit, it was odd seeing Bruce be portrayed so friendly, and he's smiling. It's a bit weird, but given the audience for this, I assume they're going for a younger audience, and it's not in continuity, which is fine with me. I have no problem with that. All that makes a lot of sense. So I'll continue to check it out. And in fact, just last night as I record this, right before I went to sleep, I read the second installment of this, the second episode, and it was more on the humor side of Batman's family than we normally get to see in regular Batman comics. So that's that if you like to see that kind of stuff in the Batman world, I highly recommend it. It looks nice. I like the way that you scroll through on the app, on the Webtoons app, and see how these things unfold as you scroll. They don't quite take advantage of that capability as much as I think they could. It's more like a set of static panels that you're just scrolling past, but the way that the artists have set or laid this out, depending on how fast you scroll, if you're not going zooming through like I did and missed this the first time through, there's this nice sort of overlapping feature as you're scrolling from one quote unquote panel to another that I like. So similar to what they did in the Marvel Infinite comic, but I remember liking the Wayne Family Adventures experience more for some reason. So I think I'll have to go and compare those again just to see what my reaction is to this stuff. But anyway, check out Webtoons for the Wayne Family Adventures. And that is all I have for this time, for this October Pull List review. Please let me know what you think of these comics, or if you have any comments, send them to me at longboxreview@gmail.com. You can always chat at me at the website, longboxreview.com, or on social media, Twitter and Instagram and Facebook at longboxreview. Thanks for listening, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.